think it pisses God off if you walk by the color purple in a field and don't notice it.
Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Alexandra, and if you're new, I make film reviews on here, and today we're going to talk about The Color Purple, which was released in 1985 and directed by Steven Spielberg. The Color Purple is based on the popular novel by Alice Walker. So the main character of this film is Celie. She gets married off to a man, and she's separated from her younger sister, Nettie. Eventually Nettie comes to live with her sister, and Celie comes to live with Celie and her husband. But because Nettie refuses Celie's husband Albert's advances, she gets forced to leave Celie again. And this film is really about how Celie develops through the trauma of being abused by both her father and her current husband, and the separation from her sister. She learns how to create lasting relationships with other women in her life, and she really grows to be the best person she could be. So this film is set in the early 1900s, and so we definitely see the societal expectations and oppression of Black women during this time, and we're still seeing the effects of the Civil War and racism and how the Black community lives in these rural areas. This film is really about Black women overcoming the oppression. We see how intergenerational trauma affects the relationships between Black men and Black women. The acting and characters in this film are very good. They are amazing. The characters seem very real, and they go through a range of emotions. There's a scene that's very creepy and disturbing. All we hear is the sounds of the horse and Nettie and running and that type of thing. And then partway through that scene, Albert jumps off the horse, and it's very quiet. Like, you wouldn't even notice if you didn't see the horse and him not on it. And so it's very eerie and unsettling that he's not on the horse. Also, when Albert goes to attack Nettie, he seems very childlike and he's singing, and it feels very serial killer like, but also childlike in a way. And then right after this scene where Albert is going to attack Nettie, because Nettie refuses his advances and she defends herself, Albert is very upset at her. So he forces Nettie off of his property by dragging her away from Celie and trying to separate them. And that scene it's so brutal, and it pulls on your heartstrings, and it's just so disturbing and upsetting to watch. The scene felt truly horrifying, and the character and the actors really played their characters well during that scene. Honestly, all of the female characters are amazing and perfect. Sophia is loud and angry, and she has a right to be loud and angry. Nettie is smart and persistent. Nettie is smart in the school way, and she is very resourceful and persistent in how she sends Celie letters all the time, even though Celie isn't writing back because Albert is keeping those letters from her. Celie is strong and kind when she needs to be. Celie is strong because she has had to withstand all of the abuse and oppression from all of the men in her life. And she's also kind because when Sophia needed help, she helps her. And it's really beautiful to see women helping other women. And then Shrug is bold and turbulent, and she just feels so real. I think these strong female characters are what people are going to take away from this film. The only problem I had with the acting was towards the end, and it felt kind of awkward when Celie was meeting her children for the first time. And it also felt a bit rushed, and I think that's probably why it felt awkward, was because it was rushed. And I think if they would have just taken their time and like added a few extra minutes to this film, I think it would have been a really good ending, and it wouldn't have felt rushed. This film looked old, and it was supposed to look old because of the time period it was set in. And I think that some of the younger audiences or some of the younger viewers are going to have a bit of a problem with like watching an older film or a film that looks older. But overall, I think the story will withstand a lot of years. Also, the way the scenes transitioned and how time moved in this film was so spot on. It transitioned really well, everything was smooth, and there were some really cool moments with like reading in shadows that I really enjoyed with this film overall. So the sound and music in this film really added to the setting and the characters' interactions. One of my favorite parts with music and sound was when after Celie had found the letters from Nettie and was reading them, and then we would get the sounds from Africa. It really added to this film and brought culture from Africa over into this film. So the main problem with this film, and kind of with my review, is that this film was directed by a white director, and I know at the time they probably didn't think about this, but I think this film definitely would have benefited from being directed by a Black woman, because the story is really centered around Black women, and so only a Black woman can really catch the nuances of having that experience, and having a white man direct this type of film doesn't really sit well with me and a lot of other people, because you don't really know the full experience of being a Black woman unless you are one. And that's something that I really can't speak to with this review, is the experience of Black women and if it is portrayed accurately. So I took it upon myself to do some research, because I encourage you and everyone in general to seek out Own Voices reviews when they're talking about an experience other than your own. And I'll leave the link for my article that I read down below, so you can go and look and see for yourself and actually read the full thing. So the overall message of this film was the relationships between women and having and developing strong female relationships and strong female characters, and how that is extremely important to finding your voice and using your voice. And I really liked the overall message of this film. So to end this video, the pros of this film were the women characters. They will honestly stay with me for a long time. The setting was perfect, and the music and transitions were beautifully done. Also, the pacing was really consistent and really well developed until the end. The cons to this film are the problematic elements and the awkward moments towards the end. So overall, I would give this film a 3.5 out of 5 stars because of that. So thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye!